What's up, everyone? My name's Lisa, for those of you that do not know. So I woke up this morning and what I saw and what I was hearing was the last page of this chapter in this book that I have here, and it's in connection to sobriety. Okay, it does. It is AA literature, okay, but I've been guided to share it, so I'm going to read these last couple of paragraphs, and because I'm not saying everybody that's drawn to my channel or to my videos it has a problem with drinking, but whoever is drawn to this particular reading, you may have some sort of issue with addiction in general. It doesn't have to be alcohol. It could be anything, money, gambling, right? Food, whatever kind of addiction you have, drugs, alcohol. Okay. But, so there's a few other things I'm going to read before I hit. So this is in relation to step 1 in Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay. So you don't have to be part of Alcoholics Anonymous if you don't want to, right? So this is just one of their books, and it's been very helpful for me in really all aspects of my life. And when push comes to shove and whatever it is that I'm having issues with or troubles with, as far as letting go and allowing God to step in to take over whatever it is that I'm struggling with, I'm always reminded of this book. Okay. So this first step, right? It's this admission of powerlessness over whatever your addiction is. Okay. Most of the time it's people have to hit a really hard bottom, right? Maybe sometimes you lose everything. Maybe some people have killed people, drunk driving, all different kinds of things have happened, working a program of recovery for me is life or death, right? And that is how I look at it. I didn't always look at it like that. This time, I celebrated, 23 years of sobriety in July 10th. And, but this is my lucky 13th time, right? I have been put into rehabs and mental institutions, as a kid. I came in at 29, this time not really expecting to stay sober, right? And but this is what I woke up to. I woke up actually seeing this book and seeing this page, right? And hearing the words being read off the page. So it says, why all this insistence that every AA must hit bottom first? The answer is that few people will sincerely practice the AA program unless they have hit bottom. For practicing AA's remaining 11 steps means the adoption of attitudes and actions that almost no alcoholic who is still drinking can dream of taking. Who wishes to be rigorously honest and tolerant? Who wants to confess his faults to another and make restitutions for harm done? Who cares anything about a higher power, let alone meditation and prayer? Who wants to sacrifice time and energy in trying to carry AA's message to the next sufferer? No, the average alcoholic, self-centered and extreme, doesn't care for this prospect, unless he has to do these things in order to stay alive himself. Under the lash of alcoholism, we are driven to AA, and there we discover the fatal nature of our situation. Then and only then we do become as open-minded. Then and only then do we become as open-minded to conviction and as willing to listen as the dying can be. We stand ready to do anything which will lift the merciless obsession from us. Okay, and I just heard we're living in a different time, okay? God has put it on my heart to do this and share about how I've been sober and how I've even gotten to make my connection with him, right? Because I'm just like anybody else. Like I struggle with releasing control, okay? And honest to God, like when I got to this place of like giving up alcohol again, this time, I really thought God had wiped his hands clean of me. I've shared about my spiritual awakening on here before, but when going through, they have the 12 steps, just about, I'd like to think everybody has heard about them, but people don't. People haven't, and I feel like, although I know that there's still meetings out there, I know that there's a lot of things happening online these days, and I feel like this is probably why I'm being moved to do this, right? Because alcohol is legal, right? It's this legal weapon, is what I'm hearing. It's this legal weapon, and back in the day, there was like they used to call the liquor stores these like wine and spirits. And I heard this story before that the reason it was called wine and spirits is because as you get drunk, and you like in this state of oblivion, your body is more at ease to be taken over by dark spirits, right? And this is what brings about this like chaos and confusion in your life. And even people go on like crime sprees, or just a lot of freaking negative shit can happen as a result of drinking, okay? And I'm even hearing like drinking and driving, okay? So somebody may have like recently either had some sort of like altercation, is what I'm hearing, and it's literally like changing your life. Like somebody could have even you could have even had a family member pass away this way, or somebody recently there's been some sort of consequence because of like drunk driving, okay? And I feel like it's something that you thought that would never happen to you, and honestly, like I haven't met any person that feels that horrible, tragic things can happen to them, okay? Not just alcoholics. Like nobody believes that, like that's always a life for somebody else, not for me, And what I found is like, this is due to ego. And part of my healing process, okay, my relief from alcohol, I had to accept that and listen, I didn't accept this easily. Like I was pissed off about it for a few years, like at least my first 3 years. I'd get pissed off like seeing people relapse because I was pissed off. I knew better now. Like I knew that alcohol wasn't going to change my situation. And if I chose to drink, it's like I play the tape all the way through and it'd be like, okay, I'd start drinking, it'd be fun. Like start feeling it. And then like after a couple, then we're calling and getting some freaking cocaine and, and then I'm chewing my pills. It's just like this whole vicious cycle. Okay. And I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed the hell out of it for a really long time. And then I was just like addicted and I lost everything. I never planned on that, that kind of shit didn't happen to me. That happened to other people, I cleaned up real good. I could lie very easily to my face, to my own face. Like a lot of times, like I would put on like makeup and do my hair and never make eye contact with myself. Who wants to sacrifice time and energy in trying AA's message and carrying AA's message to the next sufferer? No, the average alcoholic, self-centered in extreme, doesn't care for this prospect unless he has to do these things in order to stay alive himself. And this can just go to like anybody. It's like, how do we help people? Or how do we, it's like giving back. You don't get to keep what you have, and unless you're giving it away to somebody else, you're passing it on. And it's not like, you know, putting it on, you know, Fox News so everybody knows what you're doing, right? It's like, who are you when nobody's looking, you know? Do your words truly match your feet? What are you in this for? Why do you want to help people? I know exactly what it's like to be trapped in my head and to want to fucking die every single day. Every day I woke up while I was drinking and drugging, I was so pissed. I drank, especially towards the end, in hopes that I used to wake up like this and sitting straight up in bed, and then I'd go into panic because I'd be like, how did I get home? And I'd be like, oh my God, I drove. I have no recollection of that. It was like in a total blackout. And then I'd like peek out my window and I'd see my truck out there and I'd be like, wow, you know, I did drive home, you know, and then I'd have to like get dressed and do this like this walk, you know. I did this walk around my truck like every time I would wake up like that, and it was this walk of like just to make sure there was no blood like on a bumper or somebody's hair. I just had this like horrible feeling that somebody's hair was going to be like stuck in the bumper because I could have killed somebody and I never would have known it, right? And so I'd like look around, walk around my I had one of those two-door Ford Explorers, and I'd walk around my truck and be like just in fear, always in fear. And not a good way to live, you know. And once I was in the clear, then I'd start drinking again, doing drugs. I had alcohol and drugs all the time. I had worked out a really cool deal with somebody who like they couldn't do what they did in their home, so they would come over to my house and do it, and in return they brought drugs, you know. And so I always had like this unlimited supply, and so people were always hanging out at my house, you know. And towards the end there, and God could and would if he were sought. If he were sought, like I had to seek him. I had to seek a connection with him. I had always spoken to him, like even as a kid, I remember, you know, I experienced like a lot of traumatic events as a child. And I remember God would take me away from those things as they were happening, you know, or I would like be crying myself to sleep as a kid, or like looking out the window. It's not so much that I would cry myself to sleep as a kid. I would more like always kind of like stay up and look out the windows in my room and just wonder why I was where I was, and not really like I always just felt so alone, like wherever I was. And I would talk to God, and he used to always like comfort me, even as a kid. And I did this all the time, you know, like even as I grew up, like I always had this connection. And somehow I would always miss, like I would get in trouble, but somehow I would always like miss getting into like serious trouble, right? So it was like I was always kind of protected, but it was like this thin line, you know. Like I did bad. I was hell on wheels as a kid, you know. I stole. I used to steal cars. I used to steal clothes. I used to steal watches. I mean, like I was a thief, you know. I was a thief. and And then like I would buy things like for my, or steal things for my friends that they wanted, and then I'd sell them to them, you know, and then, you know, just like blow the money like on whatever, on booze and drugs. And then, you know, as an adult, my drinking didn't ever slow down. You know, I know that I had a boyfriend. I always felt safer drinking when I had a boyfriend, because then I knew if I had a boyfriend, he would watch me so that I wouldn't be taken advantage of running around drunk. You know, when I got sober this time, reconnecting with God was not easy, because I really thought he was done with me, for one, and two, I just didn't think that he was really going to show up for me. You know, I've shared on here again like how that spiritual experience happened for me, and then I realized like God had never left me. And so I just started talking to him every day. I still talk to him every day. You know, whether I'm mad at him or like I'm working, you know, walking alongside him and feeling cool, or I talk to him every fucking day. There's no way that I could have moved through the things that I have moved through in my sobriety without God. He is the one that has given me my power. Yes, he has created me in his likeness to create the life I have desired, but it's him who gives me strength when I feel like I can't go on anymore. And this has been practice. In the beginning, I didn't really believe that he was going to stick around. I realized like he had never left, and then I felt really terrible, right? And for a while I felt really terrible about feeling that he had abandoned me, right? But it's like I just talked to him. I talked to him all the freaking time, all day long. I mean, my first year of sobriety, I had the sensation of a Coke drip, and I smelled Jack Daniels every single day. I chose every single day not to drink. Somebody told me, Lisa, you could do whatever you want. You just have to be willing to live with the consequences of your actions. And they all also said part of the gift of sobriety is having that choice. Because once you take that drink, all bets are off, man. There's no more choice. Like, and when she broke it down to me like that, it made me realize that I was not being submissive to my higher power, or even the program that I was going through to get sober, right? It was me making the decision every day, and sometimes every fucking minute. I mean, there was times in the middle of it I could not fucking sleep, and I'd be up every minute freaking making a little mark, going, okay, watching the clock. Like I had this little clock, and it would like flip over the number, and every time that number flipped over, I'd put a little notch down, one more minute, because that's how difficult it was for me. God and I, we had to get reacquainted, you know, and every time, but I also had this sense of like, I had to prove it to him this time. I had to prove it to him that I wanted it, and I had to prove it to him that, just that I wanted it, and that I was willing to work for it. a lot of times, throughout my sobriety, people have thought I was bitchy. People have, I don't know, I've been called a bunch of different names. And, I've always kept my circle small. And that's because most people don't want to change. Most people want to look better. Okay? All that matters is what's happening on the outside, right? Nobody can see what's happening on the inside. So it's like, they just want it to look good on the outside. And then, like, most people will look on the outside and be like, oh yeah, they're doing great, right? But that person, like, as soon as shit hits the fan, man, they're freaking a basket case or drinking again, I've always asked for my lesson when the shit hit the fan. I had a child now, right? And I never, before, when I wanted to die every single day, I didn't have anything to live for. Like, I didn't really give two flying fucks about my life, I didn't care I was an alcoholic. I didn't care I was going to die an alcoholic. I was going to party like a rock star until it happened, right? I had no problem with that. It's been through God that I've found the strength to keep moving when things have gotten and, like, taken me out by my knees. He's the one that's always there to reignite my passion for life. And my kids have definitely been my inspiration. Like, for me, my kids are my biggest flex. I've said it on here before, I get to show them a different way, I get to show them that it's okay to be human, and God will still love me like human, even as a kid. Like, I used to hate Sundays in my house because Sundays was like this day where everyone would be fighting and my mom would be screaming and my stepdad would be yelling at us, whenever he was home, and it was just a horrible time. And my mom made me wear dresses. We all had to get dressed up. My brothers, like, actually had to wear, like, a suit and tie and shit. It was horrible, right? And then we'd have to go in to church and look like this happy family, right? And, like, nobody was fucking happy. We all had, like, and tears coming out of our, eyes, like red faces and stuff. And I've always known, like, God doesn't give a crap about that. He doesn't care even if we go to church. He wants you to have a connection with him. However you get there, like, that's on you, man. And he just wants you to talk to him. The reason I don't doubt God is because I have myself witnessed his power and his strength and his ability to change outcomes. I know, like, people say, like, this whole thing about manifesting and everything like that. And yeah, like, we can do that. We are creators of the life that we want. for me, like how it's been, it's like God's the one that opens the door, right? And for me, like I've had these big dreams, right? These big ideas, like these big plans of like what I want. But it's like God doesn't want me to have these things just to lose them. Like I've lost before. Like I've had a lot of money before, a couple of times, and I've spent it all, or it's been stolen, you know, like like I've had to learn the hard motherfucking way for just about everything. And so today I understand, like he's been helping me. He's been helping me build my character and create my foundation so that I can handle the gifts that he's been laying on me. When I had my son, like I didn't believe I could be a mom. I didn't think I was ready. But I would think like, well, I just heard DJ Khaled, God does. I don't know if you watch DJ Khaled. God did. Anyway, God did. And I'd be like, who am I to spit in his face and to question why he allowed me to be a mom? And I kept talking to him. I kept asking for guidance. And he kept putting people in my life. And the more that I sought to understand him and to develop a relationship with him, the more awarenesses I was receiving about who I was and why I did the things I did. And, you know, I really didn't care what people thought about what I was doing. I wasn't on this journey of healing to be fucking popular. I was on this journey of healing because I wanted to honestly be a better person. And I wanted to be the best mother I could possibly be. And I was so grateful for God's trust in being a mother that I didn't want to let him down. Because I've had plenty of times I've wanted to quit. There's been one time where I wanted to drink. Twice, actually. And one time nobody showed up, but I reached out to God, and thank God I had been practicing talking to him every single day, because that's what pulled me through. And the second time, I was about 3 or 4 years sober, and the first time happened like within my first year, and the second time happened about 3 or 4 years sober, and I don't remember honestly what happened. My son was like sick from the day he was born, even inside my belly, until he was, I don't know, we've had a few good years now, and but he's 22, you know, like it was rough, and for a while, and one day I was like leaving my work, and all I wanted to do was drink. All I could picture was Jack Daniels and a Heineken chaser. And I was just dreaming about it. And I don't even, Like I was driving and I just remember holding onto the steering wheel so tight, and somehow I ended up at this clubhouse where I went to, and I don't know how I got there. It wasn't me. I know it was God. And when I got there, this girl that I couldn't stand was there. I mean, I couldn't stand this girl. She was like just bad news, and I tried to stay as far away as possible from her. But I saw her, and she saw me, and I didn't want to tell her how I was feeling. And she came up to me and she was like, "Hey, Lise, what's going on?" And I just burst into tears, I think, and just started telling her, I don't even know, but that girl, I had never been nice to her. Like, I didn't even, like, give her the time of day, you know? Like, I would not bust a smile. Like, I was very judgmental towards her. And that girl would not leave my side until the next day. She slept over and everything. God showed me. This is why we gotta, like, just, you never know who's gonna save us, right? I learned that. Sometimes you have to walk away from people, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's like that you're never going to see them again, or that they're not going to be back in your life. You know, I'm not friends with that girl to this day, but it's like I'll never forget her. I'll never, like, if I ever see her, I would never be rude to her. You know, like, I have so much respect for her because she didn't have to do what she did. I don't know, there's something there, guys. I don't know if somebody out there is like needing help and you don't want to ask for it. It like makes you so mad that you want to spit. I don't know. But our egos want us dead. You know, I was taught not to ever memorize anything, because when you have things, memorize things, and you can like spew things off at the top, it's like, I don't know, maybe I might start thinking I know something. And I always want to stay curious. I always want to be looking shit up, you know? I don't want to ever think I know too much. I don't know. This card, make the effort. Great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take. I don't know. There's something here, guys. All I know is that since I've been sober and since I've been working on being a better person every day, not that I've done it perfectly, some days all I did was not kill anybody and not drink. And I talk to God. Like, no matter what, I talk to God. And sometimes there were days where I'm just like, ugh. Like, I know he's there. I know he's right there. I feel him. I see him. I like, and I'll just be like, And that's some days that's all I can do. It's just acknowledge, but I know he's there. And he just fucking laughs at me, you know? And he lets me whirl. I understand today that he loves me regardless. And that's like when he's created us in his likeness. Like, that's what I feel like this whole process of healing and this like spiritual awakening, it's like to get to that place. Get to that place where we can like love ourselves unconditionally and learn to love others unconditionally. Accept people for where they're at, you know? Not take it personal when people freaking hurt us. That shit is not easy. But I just do it a day at a time. And when I have to do it a minute at a time or an hour at a time, I do that. I give myself the grace to do that. I am in competition with absolutely fucking no one. Just my fucking brain. And what I have found for me, my peace has come in the surrender to the fact that I don't know shit, right? Like, I don't know it all. I don't know all the answers. Even in like the times since I've been sober, my perception has changed over and over and over. My relationship and understanding of God has changed over and over and over. Just enjoy the ride. Keep leaning into it. The reestablishment of my relationship with God this time started with please and thank you at night. Please in the morning when I woke up. Thank you at night when I went to bed. And I did it very much like a freaking defiant child. Like, please, thank you. You know, until I really embraced gratitude. Gratitude is fucking magic. And it has been magic in my life. There's always something good in whatever is going on. In the midst of your chaos or breakdown or whatever, there's always something good. And gratitude lists are really amazing. Like, I have written out a gratitude list, like when it's, because it's easy to say, oh yeah, I'm grateful for this, like, and have it in here. But sometimes that shit doesn't go all the way down to my heart. And so it's like, I'll write out a gratitude list until it moves to my heart. And I've done that. Like, that's been my deal, like, the whole time since I've been sober. And it's literally changed my life. Today, there isn't anything that I fear. I don't even fear like passing away. I don't want to. I'm enjoying my life. I want to be around for my kids and my grandkids and, you know, watch my family grow. But I know that should I go sooner, then like, I trust that that's my time, you know? Whatever comes my way, I know that I'm going to be able to like handle it because I got God that's got my back. Like, no matter fucking what, even when I'm being a fucking crybaby, he's still there, patiently waiting for me, protecting me. So I don't know, dude. This got deep. I don't know who this was for. But I love you. Hang in there tough. Keep leaning into it, okay? One day at a time, 1 minute at a time if you have to. And you are not alone. None of us are. And even if you are, like, physically, like, God lives inside you. And we're all connected, so boom pow. I love you. Bye.